Condon from prepbefore.com, a way to survive. In the last video we talked about the 3 safest ways to heat your home in an emergency. You know, if the power's out, what you do to keep yourself warm and keep things from freezing up. And the plan was to talk about winter driving safety tips, but after that video I had decided, after a little bit of thought, to cover a few more safety tips on things that you should do to prepare before you have to heat your home on a normal basis. So, having that said, I guess I'm going to ask, do you have a fire escape plan? You know, one of the best things you can do is, whether it's wintertime, summertime, anytime, you know, house fires happen. And the last couple of weeks we've had one here within, you know, a half a mile of us that the house was completely consumed and burned up. There was a big fire in New York, the Bronx, that took the lives of 17 people, including I think 7 or 8 kids. It's a terrible tragedy that happens all the time. And the best thing that you can do to prepare for that, no matter what time it is, where you live, is to have an escape plan. They're super easy to set up. You know, the thing is that you have to go through the process to do it. You know, it's just a few simple steps. The first one is just draw out your plan. You know, make a simple picture. You don't have to be an artist. Just draw out a simple floor plan of your house. Identify the ways out. You know, where you're going to meet once you get out, and then communicate that with everybody that you have. You know, those 2 steps are what you need to do to make sure that you have a plan. And then the third step is practice it. Make sure that once you've identified these things and you've communicated them, practice it. Because when they do happen, by the time on average that you are alerted that there is a house fire, you have approximately 2 minutes to get out. So if you don't know what you're doing, where you're going, and you haven't practiced it, it's going to take longer, obviously. So if you do these things and practice it, time yourself, see if you can get everybody to do this and go to the same place outside of the house in under 2 minutes, you're drastically going to improve your chances of survival. So having that said, it doesn't matter where you're at, they happen all the time. You know, like I said, we had some here just within half a mile of us where the house was completely consumed. You know, they lost everything. The one in the Bronx where there were, of course, that's a little bit different situation than an individual residential home. It was a multi-story building with lots of people in it, so I'm sure there were lots of people that got out, but there were several that did not. And was it the ones that didn't have a plan? Did they not have a way out? I mean, what was the situation? I don't know, but it does happen everywhere. Having a plan is going to help you no matter what. And of course, it is the season. You know, and I like to say it is the season, but the holidays are over. I hope you guys had a good one. But it does happen everywhere. And you know, no matter if you're in Florida or up north or in the Midwest where we're at, it's getting cooler out. You know, it could be 40s, 60s. You know, here it was 7 degrees for a couple days last week. It got really cold, so the 30-degree weather that we're having now feels a little more tolerable after that. It's amazing how that works. But with the cooler temperatures, irregardless of where you're at, people are going to start turning on the furnace, and it's been sitting for an entire summer season. You know, as the temperatures cool off, people want to warm their house up and feel more comfortable, so they just go flip the switch and assume that everything's going to work the way it should. This is typically when most furnace failures happen. You know, they've been sitting, they haven't been used. You know, even if they're using the air conditioner, the fans turning, stuff like that, but they're not. Whether it's electric, gas heat, you know, those parts of the appliance have been sitting dormant for a long time, and I recommend, of course, changing filters, you know, if you don't have the skills or the knowledge of how to do this, there's plenty of places, businesses that will come out and tune up your furnace and get it ready for you, do a little quick run through, and make sure it's in good shape and ready to run. You know, it's always a good idea to do that before you put your heater in service. A couple things to think about if you don't do that. Even if you do, it's best the first time you turn your furnace on to make sure that you do it while you are present. And I don't mean just at home, I mean present. Make sure that you're paying attention when you turn it on. Let it run through 2 cycles. You know, if you let the furnace run through 2 cycles, this means that the thermostat's working, the limit switches are working, the power supply, fuel, whatever it is, if you're gas or electric, if everything isn't working properly, it heats the house up, it finds that comfortable place, and the thermostat is satisfied and it turns off. That tells you the first cycle has worked. And then it cools down, let the thermostat do its thing. Hitting the second cycle will let you know that it's starting up again, you know, not just because you flipped the switch and gave it power, but because the system was satisfied. Let it warm the house up again, hit the limits, satisfy the furnace, and shut off again. After that, you should be okay. You know, I can't say that all furnaces, depending on age, they're different. You know, they're older, they have different parts, electric, gas, there's even LP, natural gas, fuel oil, there's all kinds of different ones. But they all basically have the same principal mode of operation, and you should let that run through 2 cycles. And what I'm saying this for is don't turn the furnace on and go to bed. You know, most of the time when there is a tragic loss of life due to a house fire, you know, they happen at night when people are sleeping and they don't have smoke alarms. There's another good point. You know, if you don't have your smoke alarm set up, how are you going to know? Especially if you're asleep. So kick those on, make sure that you have it, and you know, that's kind of where I'm going with. You know, they always say safety first, but I've kind of left it till last. So I'm going to say safety first and last. Smoke alarms are a brilliant idea. They should be, some of these things, smoke alarms and fire extinguishers, if you go into a business or if you run a business, whether it's construction, a restaurant, they require you to have smoke alarms and some type of fire suppression system. You know, I don't understand why it's not required if you're going to own a home. Smoke alarms should be a requirement. Fire extinguishers should be a requirement. And if you don't have either one, I highly recommend you get one. I will leave some links in the description for this YouTube channel. This video that I'm making below, there's a description, and you can find links for those in there. You know, the smoke detectors should be placed in pretty much every room that you have. You know, and they're up high. And the thing about smoke detectors is that some of them wire into the house, some of them run off batteries alone, but they need to be tested. And you have to do this on a regular basis, make sure that they work when they need to, keep the batteries changed. And one of the things about practicing your fire escape plan is, especially if you have children, when you test these, let them hear it. Let them know what that noise is. That way they understand that when that noise goes off, there's a fire. They need to get out. They need to make sure people are awake, whatever it takes. And fire extinguishers, even really small ones, can save you in kitchen fires, all kinds of stuff. I keep a 5-pound in the basement close to where our furnace is, just in case there's an event down there. The small ones you can get pretty easy. I will leave links to both in the description. You just go down below this video in the description and expand it, and there will be some links to all this stuff in there that you can see. And if you think this is good information, again, it's a YouTube channel, so you are welcome to subscribe. And if you like it, please smash the like button. And the thing is that this information is good for anybody and everybody, and the best way to help is to share. And if you do like these little tips, the videos that I'm making, you are able to hit the bell, and if you are subscribed and you hit that bell, it will notify you when I put out new information. And that is the best way for me to help everyone I can, is for people to subscribe, share, and get the notifications. I will also be posting these, notifications as they came out on Facebook page, and of course prepbefore.com. And if you would like more information of what I've shared in this video, you can go to prepbefore.com/do you have a fire escape plan? And I have much more information on there with links for smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, where you can go to get more information on how to be ready for a fire safety drill or building your plans. And of course, if you leave comments or have a question, I have a form on there where you can even ask a question. You fill the form out and I will get back to you and we can communicate that way. But the best thing to do is just subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so you get notifications when I get new information out. And of course, stay warm, stay safe, and be ready before you have to. Next week, I plan on putting a video out. Like I said, I was going to do winter driving safety tips, and I will have that queued up and ready to go for you next week. So stay tuned. Come on back. This is Chad with prepbefore.com. Thanks for joining me.